Hi, Pedro. So I think, we've been talking about startups. You're an accelerator and I'm a VC firm. So one of the things that, when I talk with startups, they're always talking about, the money and looking for money. But I don't think it's about money. I think it's about capital, which is different. And I think intelligent capital means you have to put a lot of things in the pot. It's not just about the money at all, And my fund is investing in startups, but you're even, I think earlier, I want to hear about that. And one of the reasons that we established our firm here in Milan is because there is such a critical mass of resources here. It surprises even me, even though I've been here for 30 years, that there are more than 150 VC firms in Milan, and probably more than 50% of the major investors are here, plus the universities.
For us, the intelligent capital, as we're calling it here, is capital that has industry-specific knowledge too. And I think that's interesting to explore here in Milano, because you have, in Italy in general, you have a lot of capital, a lot of intelligence about specific industries. There's a lot of strong family offices in Italy in different industries with capital, which doesn't yet know a lot about technology. And so it's interesting to see how that can evolve in the future. How can that traditional capital be made more intelligent in terms of tech and entrepreneurship to support the growth of the economy? Capital, I like to think of capital more than just money in circulation. Capital is knowledge in circulation. And so that knowledge exists in the region. It is locked in specific industries. And I think there's an opportunity now to unlock it.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. I thought it was interesting you used the word unlock. And I think that's really key about what's happening now in Milan. And we're seeing a lot of new venture firms coming up. And one of the things that I've seen happening, which I think is a great thing, is these family offices who have a fund of their own, but a lot of them are joining some of the big angel investing networks. And as a venture capital, we find investing with the Italian, in particular there's Milan, also Turin, very, very strong, also some in Rome, but particularly Milan and Turin. And they bring that experience, that industry experience, together to these new young entrepreneurs. And it's really powerful. Again, thinking about what is intelligent capital. One of the things that I think is really important is that you just need a lot of inputs. You need to have not just one professor with an idea. You need to have, it's better to have a lot of disciplines coming in. I told you my sector is life science, but one of the things in Milan, we have 11 universities, and in the life science sector, for example, with Ospedale San Raffaele and Humanitas, you have not only the university part, you have the research part, plus you have the actual hospital. And this is very important because you've got a lot of different inputs that come in and help.
Yeah. What we see is the ecosystem. We like to say that, capital is definitely not enough to make for a thriving tech ecosystem. And every stakeholder needs to play a role to create the conditions for startups to thrive in that region. And so capital is a part of it, but not the only one. So the role of universities, as you mentioned, is crucial, and there are strong ones now here in Milan. Not now. There's always been strong universities in Milan, in Italy. There's some acceleration initiatives starting to happen with Mind and a few other things.
Yeah, and also the new one, I think accelerators also at Bocconi, they have the B for Innovation, as well as a lot of the other universities as well are starting that.
And there's another interesting thing about Milano, which is also a crucial part for the creation of tech ecosystem, entrepreneurial ecosystem, which is density. And if you bring together, maybe the way to do the density is not so much the area in people per square meter, but it's more density of knowledge. It's expertise on a specific region or on a specific vertical. And when we're talking about all the fintech happening in Milano, why not? It could be a cluster of fintech innovation or AI or life sciences. And so I think this idea of creating density in Milano around a specific vertical can be very interesting to explore.
Yeah, I completely agree. And one of the examples that I'm seeing is, which was really, forward thinking, taking the area that had been developed for Expo in 2015, now it's the Mind Innovation District. And there's a collaboration also with Berkeley and some other accelerators. There's a hospital there, corporates are there. And the idea is really to create this hub or this cluster. So I completely agree that to identify excellences that are there and then construct around it a cluster of other important expertise is really the way to go. Don't try and reinvent the wheel, one-man show,
Exactly.
So, we've been talking a lot about the factors that make, companies successful, and always more, we're talking about, sustainability, ESG, and particularly in the life science, it's very, very important to develop medicines that will be inclusive. They'll be personalized, but also inclusive and diversity. And in Milan in particular, there's a huge attention to this. And we see it from the investor point of view, but even just in the city itself, that's even the city we live in has become more sustainable with the bike lanes. It's, I think it's something like 3 times more green space here than when I first came. So I think that all of the focus on the impact and sustainability it's actually helping us make better investments.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. In our world, which is largely a software world, the way to look at ESG and impact is slightly different, definitely. And I think that data and sustainability data is where the next big thing can be. It's already happening, and using sustainability data as a fuel for growth of the ventures. And we have several companies in our portfolio that demonstrate that using ESG data wisely can be a way to grow companies faster. And then there's the policy aspect of sustainability. But sustainability cannot be just policy, right? Sustainability has to be a way of doing business.
Absolutely.
And the interesting part, I think, here is, if you think of Italian history, is one of design and harmony, which are two principles of sustainability. So it could be very interesting to see what happens in this space in Italy following this. Yeah.
We've been talking about intellectual capital and that it's not just the money, but in my experience, it's all about the people. When we invest in something, we say it's the team, and then the product, and then is the market big? That's it, okay? And Milan, I think, is really, it helps us when we're trying to attract talent, and that's for a bunch of reasons. One, it's a location, we talked about the need for clusters, which doesn't mean having the same density right there, but it's very connected. We've got, great airport, particularly with the new Linate thing, the new Linate connection, the train system, its location, and also in terms of lifestyle. But in addition to that, we do have, particularly in Milan and Lombardy, this tradition of the family-owned company. So you have these young people that now more and more have studied abroad. We also have a lot of international students coming into Milan. So they have this entrepreneurial spirit already there. And I think that that's the talent at the end of the day is, I think, the most important thing, at least for us, but I assume also for you.
Yeah, I mean, you cannot build companies without people. So.
Not yet, anyway. Hopefully.
Definitely, talent is important. But I think the advantage on the talent war is going to be more than just attracting the talent. It's circulation of the talent, because ideas move faster than capital. And if you get this cross-pollination of the talent that comes here and studies and researches at these top universities, eventually works for some companies here, and then it circulates, it creates this cross-pollination of different verticals, different industries, learning from each other.
In the investment arena, VC, PE, we've seen the numbers growing, incredibly. All right, and that's a really a great thing, and it has been because we are beginning to get this intelligent capital. It's coming from the family offices, the business angels. Our sovereign fund has contributed a great deal. But when we look at our position in terms of investment in startups globally, it's pretty low. But I think that that's absolutely an opportunity.
I agree. And in these stages of development of the ecosystems, what we've also seen is that aside from the capital and everything that we've been talking about as parts of the ecosystem, the regulatory aspect and the role that the government can play is also crucial, because in these, talent wars, capital wars, talent and capital will flow to places where regulation is stable and friendly.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. I think you underline the importance of having a friendly, which for me also means stable, which it doesn't mean stagnant, but stable environment, because everything is fluid and will flow there. And in Milan in particular, it's a growing city, and the governance of the city really is providing an environment where you can feel secure for your future, projections.
And then one other, I think, big opportunity for the Italian market is, as we've discussed today plenty times, there is this humongous amount of capital available in traditional industries, and the family offices can definitely play a crucial role in the development of this new entrepreneurial ecosystem that we've been talking about here today, because again, they know their industries, they know technology is going to disrupt them, and they have the capital to be the ones actually determining the future of their verticals through venture capital. And it's a huge opportunity for the family office.
Yeah.